Hey, what is going on, guys? It's DK back at you with another video here to predict on the 4-game CSGO main slate on Saturday. Before I get into the video, if you guys are new to the channel, my name's DK. I make daily videos breaking down NBA, NFL, and esports daily fantasy sports slates. Esports including Call of Duty, League of Legends, and this one CSGO. So yeah, with that out of the way, we can jump into the video. Before we get into players and their prices, what we can do is we can look back at my lineup here from Friday. Friday was an insane day. Like, what happened out there? So this is my final lineup: Rops, Nico, Frozen, Olafmeister, Electronic, and Boomage. You saw basically every single team get upset. All the huge Navi was minus 2,500, and they got upset. Just insane. VP was pretty big favorites. I think they're minus 300 or 400. They got upset. Mouse Esports like minus 600. They went down in 2-0 fashion. And then FaZe lost first map, ended up winning 2-1, but it was a close game. It was just one of those days where just like, I want to forget about it, right? I actually did try making, for the first time, making multiple lineups. I made 20 in that $1 tournament. Did not go well. I cashed in 1. Because my thought process for that slate was there's a lot of top-heavy players I wanted. I figured, I'm just going to go stacks of the favorites. And obviously, again, with all the upsets happening, it didn't work out for me. Again, the Mouse Esports guys, they got 2-0. Rops continues to struggle. Will I continue to play him the next slate? Probably, until he has that bounce-back game. Right? His price will probably continue to fall. He's lost me a lot of money, so I'll probably just continue to ride it out. Nico was fine in the win there, put up 80. Olafmeister was okay for value. On the Navi side, right, they lost. Electronic was pretty good for his price. Finally had a decent day. Boomage just, okay, right. It's just not going to get it done when I have, 4 players on losing teams in my lineup. So unfortunate. Again, a really, really strange slate. We saw almost all the upsets happen, and a lot, again, were really big upsets. So let's take a look at it. We're gonna go over just the main slate here, the 4-game 11:30 a.m. Central slate. So we have Dignitas versus Complexity. Complexity slight favorites are at minus 180. NS versus Astralis. Astralis are the biggest favorites of the day at minus 550. Fnatic versus Ninjas and Pajamas. Fnatic slight favorites are at minus 180, and Vitality versus Heretics. Vitality are minus 200 favorites. So let's start with the first game here, Complexity and Dignitas. If we're just looking at players and their prices, I think definitely my favorite play here is BlameF. I think he really stands out for his price. Again, Complexity are slight favorites here. 7K for a guy that has really looked solid here. Put up a 75 fantasy point game there against Fnatic. We're just looking at his recent performances, right? 68, 52, 53, and 75. A lot of those against pretty decent teams too. This one, they are slight favorites. If they can come out on top here, 7K BlameF. I think he does really stand out for his price. So he's definitely my favorite player there on the Complexity side. If you want to pair him with someone, I don't think I get to rush, even at that price. I think I kind of forget about him. Obo had a huge day, kind of out of nowhere there against Fnatic. I think it's more of an outlier game. We're just looking at his recent performances, right? -5, 17 in there, 39, and then out of nowhere again, that 98. Sure, again, that was against a good team, and it's good to see, but I think that's more of an outlier. I'll let others chase. I think I'll pass there. I would prefer again to maybe Poison or Config. I think Config probably has a little bit more upside than Poison personally, but you're going to have to pay an extra 1,000. So probably would rank it BlameF number 1, Poison 2, Config 3 for me on the Complexity side. But yeah, the price tags are pretty appealing with Config being the highest price guy at 8.6K. But again, BlameF, I think my favorite play there at 7K. On the Dignitas side, they are slight dogs here, a plus 125. This is more of a veteran team, older guys. I think once again, my favorite place here would be Force and Get Right. Force at 7.6K, Get Right at 7.2K. I don't know. I have a gut feeling Complexity is going to win this one. I just think they're the better team from what I've watched over the past month or so. So, am I going to play as Dignitas guys? I don't think so. But yeah, the guys I would look to would be Force, Get Right. They are a more top-heavy team, which is good, right? Those guys, the top slay, but a little bit more. Guys like Freiburg exist. I wouldn't even consider those guys for value. So that's where I would look on the Dignitas side if you wanted to go there. Probably those 2 guys in the middle there, Forest and Get Right. Next game here with Heretics versus Vitality. Another game. Both teams are, again, very top-heavy. So Maka, however you pronounce his name, at 9.2K. We've seen it from him, right? 90, 123. Now, sure, against good teams, against Fnatic, Astralis, and Ninjas in Pajamas, he struggled. 49, 55, and 52. But again, they got 2-0 in all three of those games. He's the guy that obviously does have the biggest upside on this team. His price is dropping a little bit. So I think he makes for a very interesting tournament play. And just going off of what I've seen recently in Counter-Strike, people are just going to target the favorites and kind of ignore a lot of the underdogs. I could definitely see an upset here. Vitality's been a little bit up and down. So yeah, again, this team is more top-heavy. Guys like Kiyoshima, XMS, I don't think I consider this. Oh, Kiyoshima at 4.8K is a pretty cheap price. I think he is in play, but again, they are more top-heavy. Guys can make a Navarra can go off. You're getting him at about a 2K discount. I do like Navarra a good amount here. I think, again, if you want to go the Heretic stack, we've seen big games from both Navarra and Maka. And then Lucky even at 6.8K, I think is fine as well. He's also flashing upside. So this Heretics team is a team that I think is interesting for GPPs because we know the upside is there in some of those players at the top of the roster. So yeah, those are definitely guys I'm looking to in more contrarian GPP format. But again, we've seen big games from all three of those guys, Maka, Navarra, and Lucky. Again, I think Kiyoshima at that price is in play. On the Vitality side, again, it's the same thing. It's ZywOo that has huge upside and kind of carries the team. Everyone else is just okay, right? So you're going to have to pay premium for ZywOo if you want to go there at 9.8K. He is very up and down, but in those wins, he does have enormous upside, right? We've seen, for some reason, they don't have that game against Fnatic on there where he had over 100. I don't know why, but he had an insane game that day. So yeah, this is, again, we know Vitality is carried here by ZywOo. He's their AWPer. I do like him if you want to go this direction. I think getting this game right is going to be key for this slate, right? Because both these teams, on the Heretic side, Maka has huge upside. On the Vitality side, ZywOo has huge upside. If you guess right on which one and which team wins, I think you're going to be in great shape. So, am I recommending playing either Maka or ZywOo? I think it's a good idea to try to guess which one, right? I think it's almost a coin flip. I think ZywOo will probably be a little bit more popular if we're just talking about ownership. But again, in wins, right? We've seen the huge games from ZywOo. On the opposite side, we've seen huge games from Maka and wins. So I think getting this game right is key. If we're talking about other players in the Vitality roster, sure, they're cheap options. My next favorite play here for his price would be RPK at 6.2K. I just think for his price tag, he's the one that stands out the most on this team next besides ZywOo, right? So Apex, RPK, Shocks, and Mitsu, right? If we're just looking at fantasy points per game for what they have up there, RPK is right up there with Apex, really close, and a little bit more than Shocks at the same price. So I think RPK would be your next favorite play, followed by, again, obviously ZywOo at the top, who has enormous upside. I think guessing right on the Vitality Heretics game is going to be the key. Next game, we have Astralis versus Sana. So this is where you get your safety. But again, nothing is safe after what we saw today. We've seen a lot of upsets the last couple of weeks. Just look at the Vegas odds, right? The Astralis are the biggest favorites. Now, again, I've said it a lot here. They're a very balanced team, which is, it's a little bit hard to predict which player is going to go off, which is tough. But if we're just looking for safety, you're just looking for a cash game format, sure. I think probably playing 2 or 3 Astralis guys in your lineup is probably the way that I would go if you're just looking for like a 50-50 lineup. Now, if we're talking about players and their prices on Astralis, I think Device right now, so normally he was a guy that was a little bit more expensive compared to the rest of his team. Now they're very similar, right? 8.2, 8K, 7.8K. So I think Device would be my favorite play here at the top. He's their AWPer. Again, I think he is the guy that has the most upside in this team, and his prices drop. So I think he is my favorite play. Zipx, a guy I've been playing basically every single slate. I think I'll continue to go right back to the well there. He's been really consistent. He has almost as much as upside as Device, in my opinion. So those two guys would be my favorite plays. Magix is fine too, but I think I like Dupree a little bit more for his price at 7K. Now, sure, Dupree is a guy that's been a little bit up and down. He is an aggressive player, so he can have a lot of dust, but if he gets going, you could see a big game out of Dupree, right? We've seen 70, 80 fancy points from him. So at that price, in a game, they're pretty big favorites. I do like Dupree. I think Glave is still in play as well at 6.8K. We've seen big games from him as well. Again, that's the concern here. So they're a very, very balanced team. But if I had to rank them right now, I would say Device 1, Zipx 2, Dupree 3 for me. Magix and Glave, they are not out of play. I think those guys are certainly viable, and they could definitely go off. But just personally, that's the way I would rank those Astralis guys. On the NS side, so they're big dogs, but we've seen so many upsets. We saw a lot today. Anything can happen here. So let's talk about the honest guys. Alu's the guy at the top who has enormous upside. If you want to go a contrarian option, I think he's probably going to be 5, maybe 10% owned at most. So we saw it against Vitality, right? 87 fancy points. Against Ninjas in Pajamas, 90 fancy points. He's this guy that's going to carry the team if they can pull off the upside here. So Alu's the guy, if you're looking at his contrarian option, I think is very, very much in play. If I was going to pair him with someone, it probably would be Sunny for his price at a really cheap price at 5K, right? We've seen some decent games out of Sunny. 50, 75 there against Vitality. So that's probably the way that I would go about it. If you wanted to go really contrarian and get some honest guys in there, it would probably be Alu followed by Sunny. Lastly, here we have Ninjas in Pajamas versus Fnatic. This one also should be a good one to watch. Fnatic, they're slight favorites at -180. On the Ninjas in Pajamas team, their salaries are really appealing here. Everyone under 7K. Now, the concern here is kind of this concern with the straws. A very, very balanced team. Looking at fantasy points per game. Nock, 50. Rez, basically 50. Plopsky, 57. And Twist, basically 50. Lurko, basically 50, right? So they're almost all the same. I think for their prices, I think Plopsky would be my favorite play. He's been really chalky the last 2 or 3 slates. For some reason, Draftkings not moving up his price. So I think, once again, he'll be very popular. Probably over 50% owned. I wouldn't say that because they are underdogs. But I think he will be pretty decently owned on this slate. So yeah, I think he would be my favorite play. If you want to pair him with someone, again, it's almost coin flip with which one of these guys. If we're just looking at the price tags right, it probably would be Lurko, my next favorite play there, at 5.8K. But I think really any of those guys are viable. And again, kind of like the Straw side, they're a very balanced team. So picking which one's going to have a good day is a little bit tough. And finally, let's go to the Fnatic side. So they are slight favorites here at -180. There is a good amount to like here on the Fnatic side. So Brolin at the top at 8.8K. He's the guy who's been really, really on fire recently. Looking at recent games, right? 77, 94, 78. I think he is certainly in play, but I think I just prefer other players in his team for cheaper prices. So Flusha is viable as well, but I like Crims. I know Crims had a bad day the last game against, it was Complexity. He only had 53 fancy points, but he's a guy that can get you 60, 70. We've seen even, again, 144. Now, sure, that's more of an outlier game, but the upside is there with him. So Crims, at his price point, I think makes her a pretty solid play here on the Fnatic side. I think I do prefer him to Brolin. If you can get the salary of the Brolin, though, I think he is safer. I just like Crims a little bit better for his price tag. Flusha is viable as well, but yeah, I think I just prefer Crims slightly for his price. And lastly, JW. I like him a good amount. His price is not moving. I've played him the last few slates. I think I'll continue to go right back to the well here. 6K, a favorite. He's their opera. He's been playing pretty good recently. So yeah, I do like JW a good amount. Probably one of my favorite value plays of the day. Yeah, I think that really does it here. So, again, I think the key really is guessing right in the Heretics Vitality side. I think getting either Mac or Zywoo in your lineup is probably a good idea because those are the two guys that have the most upside by far in the slate. We're talking about captains, and we're just talking about safety. I think it would be those Strawless guys. So, again, probably like a device in the captain at 8.2K looks pretty good to me. Again, if you want to go Dupree, again, I think, where I'm going to go is probably one of those Astralis guys, whether it be Device, Dupree, Zipx in my captain spot. But yeah, there are some cheap players, right? Those Ninjas in Pajamas guys are all under 7K. Blame Meth and Complexity is 7K himself. So yeah, I think this is an interesting slate. No really huge favorites. Astralis are the biggest favorites, but we saw a lot of upsets and anything can happen. So yeah, I think that is going to do it for today's video, guys. So if you have been enjoying the content so far, I really appreciate it if you like this video. Subscribe if you haven't already. We're closing in, I believe, 3.2 thousand subscribers. I'm going to have a Call of Duty video up right after this, just waiting for the salaries to come out. So if you guys are interested in Call of Duty DFS, my video will be up later tonight. Be on the lookout for that. Thanks again for everyone coming to check out this video. I really do appreciate each and every one of you, and I will see you all in the next video.